Ready, set, hut, hut.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 15 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tavon Austin.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth.
It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season.
And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into another live stream here on the Country Roads webcast, April 12th edition, and this will be a celebratory edition as well. You guys have known I've come on here with these transfer portal updates almost daily for WVU basketball, talking about the targets, showing the target list, which we've added more names to that, and we'll talk about those momentarily. But as I've went through it, I've tried to tell you guys some of the ones that were up high on my list. You know, when we first started this thing, Brennan Lorient was up there. Once West Virginia got his commitment and OBOHA, said, that we needed a guard. And I thought, no better guard on the list. Number one on my wish list was Honor Huff. Didn't know how good of a chance West Virginia stood. We knew that he was, we were involved in the Final Five. We talked about that in the previous couple of streams. But then lo and behold, wish granted today as West Virginia lands Honor Huff, getting his commitment earlier today. Huge news. The nation's number one three-point shooter last year. No one made more threes than Honor Huff. He has limitless range. He's really good in the pick and roll, which is very vital in Ross Hodge's offensive system. I think he'll be a great fit. You look at Ross Hodge's North Texas team last year, and they had what a lot of people consider to be an undersized guard in Atten Wright, who could really score the basketball, and he did a great job for them. I think now you have a player with a similar body style in Honor Huff, but someone that can shoot the lights out even more and an even more capable scorer. So it'd be fun to see what Coach Hodge and company cooks up with this one. And, of course, got to shout out Phil Forte. I've been telling you guys for a couple weeks or so now that he'd be following Coach Hodge, and he was one I was really excited about. He was the main point of contact for Honor Huff and really helped us land him. And, you look at what Phil Forte's done in the past with Jason Edwards, Tyler Perry, and then this past year, Atten Wright as well. He's really done a good job developing scoring guards and developing their offensive game when they're under his tutelage. So I think, that'll be another match made in heaven is Phil Forte and Honor Huff. So we'll get more into it here momentarily, but I want to appreciate you guys tuning in here live, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Those of you that watch on Facebook or Twitch, come over to the Country Roads Webcast YouTube channel where you can get the pre-recorded videos and podcast episodes in addition to these live streams. I put out several pre-recorded videos over the past couple of days. I'll have another one going up either later tonight or early tomorrow for a football recruiting update as well. A lot to talk about here on the basketball side throughout this stream. You guys that are watching on YouTube, whether live or on the playback, help us out. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps this video hit the YouTube algorithm. It'll find more Mountaineer fans like yourself, and they can learn a little bit about how big of a pickup Honor Huff is and stay up to date with the other transfers West Virginia has reached out to us. We'll provide an update on those. We have 4 new names to add to the transfer target list as well. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about Honor Huff here. Then we'll talk about the other transfer targets. And we have an update on a potential high school recruit as well. We'll touch on here before we finish up. But appreciate you guys that are in here live. If you are in here live, throw your questions, comments in the chat there, and we'll try and get to some of those at the tail end of the stream as well. But let's lead it off here with the commitment announcement that was shared. Of course, there's been multiple of them shared on social media. Let's see, the one that I have here is from Deshaun London, who states, honor Huff, the nation's leader in three-point makes, which 131 of them last year. That's a ton for one season. Transferring to West Virginia, he told 247 Sports, of course, he averaged 15.2 points per game on nearly 42% from three. So he made, not only did he make 131 threes, but he shot nearly 42% from the three-point line. An absolute assassin from beyond the arc is Honor Huff, and super excited West Virginia was able to get him. Like I said, was number one on my wish list and had the wish granted today. So let's pull up our transfer tracker really quickly. We'll talk a little bit about the transfer in list now, that we can add Honor Huff's name to that transfer in list where he joins Harlan Obioha and Brennan Lorient. Honor Huff, of course, coming over from Chattanooga. There's the transfers out, the transfers in thus far. And, of course, the transfer target list, which you may see some new names on, which we'll talk about those momentarily. But now we got Honor Huff in the blue, joining Obioha and Lorient there. Of course, this is not the complete contact list for WVU. This is just all the ones that I know of. I'm sure there's been several more, but it's, tough to keep up with at times, but I try and do my best to add them to this list and come here and do a stream and talk about each one of these prospects, which I have done in the past all the way down through this one. And then we have four more that we're going to highlight here in a minute. But first, let's focus on Honor Huff a little bit as we see his name added to the transfer in list here on our CRW transfer portal tracker. Let's pull up the Transfer 101 from Keenan Cummings over at the Rivals site, which does the best job of it here with the Transfer 101s and the Commitment 101s. I always like to highlight these articles from him as well. And Honor Huff, as far as what he has to say about him, of course, 5'10", 168, narrowed down his options to West Virginia, St. John's, Iowa, Pitt, and Vandy before selecting WVU, which we talked about on the previous couple of streams here. But he's really, was sought out by multiple teams throughout the nation, as they say here, but attracted plenty of attention in the portal. Mountaineers were able to beat out a number of talented schools to secure the commitment. The high-scoring guard became a priority for West Virginia in the portal and is coming off a season where he averaged 15 points, 2 assists, nearly 2 rebounds while hitting 42% of his shots on an impressive 42% from three-point range as well, or pretty close to it, 41.6. We'll round up and say 42%. Made a total of 131 threes, which ranked him atop all of college basketball in terms of made three-pointers. He was also all first team there in the Southern Conference, which is to be expected when he put up those type of numbers. Also, what's impressive here as you look down here, he's a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio guy, the 2.3 assist number. He only averaged, I think, a little bit less or right at 1 turnover per game. So 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Not only is he a great shooter, a great scorer, which is, the most exciting part of his game, but he's also really good at initiating the offense, taking care of the basketball, really good in the pick and roll, which, like I said, will benefit him in Ross Hodge's system. Of course, the season before, he averaged 17.4 points, 2.6 assists, and 2.7 rebounds per game while shooting 43% from the field and 38% from three. So he even put his three-point percentage up 4 percentage points this past season as well, but also was all Southern Conference that year. So back-to-back years being all Southern Conference. Started his career at VMI initially. 1 season of eligibility remaining in his college career. He's the third transfer commit for WVU, as we just highlighted on our transfer portal tracker, which will keep you up to date with all of the transfer portal action throughout the WVU Hoop side of things here, including players West Virginia has reached out to in that portal, which we have more of those to talk about momentarily. But let's talk about how he fits the program here, courtesy of Keenan Cummings. Huff can put the ball in the basket in a variety of different ways. He's equipped to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, but is perhaps the best when shooting the basketball. Huff isn't the biggest guard, but is confident and isn't afraid to mix it up against taller options. Huff had 44% of his field goals from above the break threes, and his 131 total of threes is the top returning number in all of college basketball. So it's clear that he's confident and effective shooter at the college level, off the catch, in spot-up situations, or creating for himself. He's also shown the ability to hit deep threes as well with range. I think the number I saw was right at 20 threes that he hit last year that were further than 25 feet deep. So definitely unlimited range as well. He can also get the ball to the rim and create for himself, and is effective with the off-the-dribble shooting, so there's a good mix in his game. And he isn't only a shooter and can bring a different dimension to the table, as he's also an effective passer. West Virginia needed guards in the worst way, and Huff is a plus addition that was in high demand once he entered the portal. He gives the program an experienced guard that showed the ability to score at a high clip, and his shooting will be a welcomed addition, which we are super excited about the addition of Huff. But enough of me raving about him. Let me show you a couple highlights here, courtesy of Ethan Bach, who put this out from the Portal Report on social media. But just watch here. You'll see a little from Huff here deep on this one. Look at that. That's off the dribble, hand in the face, doesn't matter, pure. And you see his release. He has a really great shooting form, really quick release. And that's why, despite being guarded by taller defenders, he can get that shot off pretty much at any time with that quick release and that pure shooting stroke right there, and really good off the dribble right there. You see how quick that release came. And then there's a deep one there as well. Plenty of ones, from 2-3 feet back from beyond the 3-point line. There you see one that's really deep. Like I said, limitless range and the great shooting stroke here. One more look at the initial play there off the pump fake and a deep three that he knocks down. Good stuff there from Honor Huff, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what you can expect from the latest addition to the West Virginia transfer portal class. It's going to be a phenomenal scoring guard for the Mountaineers. Really good pieces they've added in this class. I think that so far you've added 3 transfers. I would say you've added 3 starters for sure. And your big man, Oha, Lorient, who can be your 4-man or your 3-man, most likely be the 4-man, as he does have some good rim protection skills there. So I think you've got your starting 4, your starting 5, and your starting point guard on the roster now already in your 3 transfer additions. And that's not even including DJ Thomas, who, of course, they've added from the high school ranks, who will see some playing time this upcoming season as well. So super excited about the addition of Honor Huff, if you guys can't tell by how hype I am in my voice. And, of course, when I've named him as the number 1 on my wish list, when the commitment came down, I was like, wish granted, got what we hoped for there. So super excited about that pickup of Honor Huff. But West Virginia not done in the portal by any means. Let's talk about some of these other names that we've added to the contact list here. 4 new names that we can highlight here. So let's go ahead and hit on each one of these. Let's go here to first, right here from Transfer Tapes on social media, talking about High Point transfer Kamani Hamilton, a new target for WVU. He has heard from multiple schools since entering the portal: Kentucky, Arkansas, Cincinnati, NC State, Indiana, DePaul, Seton Hall, Georgia, USC, Tulsa, and of course, WVU. So how about a little bit on Kamani Hamilton here? Let's pull up his stats, courtesy of ESPN. High Point, we know, had a pretty successful season under Coach Alan Huss, and he was a big part of that. All 4 of these new targets we're going to talk about all share one common factor: good length, good size. 6'7" for Hamilton there, 220 pounds, so a good frame to go with that 6'7" length. And he averaged over 13 points per game, nearly 5 rebounds per game, and 2 assists while shooting 52% from the field. So good numbers there. Let's look further into him here. Played about 24 minutes per game, also shot 32% from the 3-point line. So despite the high field goal percentage, kind of showing that you're getting a lot of the scoring done inside, he can stretch it out and shoot from the outside right around 30% throughout his career there on average. Good free throw shooter at 72%. I like the nearly 5 rebounds per game, but the year before he averaged 7 rebounds per game. So he definitely is someone that can hit the glass for you, which I think we need now. With you look at our other additions, you got the rim protection and rebounding of Oha. You have the super athleticism and the rim protection of Lorient, who can grab rebounds himself. But I think when you're adding depth to the front court now, you want to focus in on guys that are going to grab you some rebounds probably. Good assist ratio for someone there at his size, with nearly 2 assists per game, 1 steal per game, only a half a block per game there. So there's some of the numbers for Kamani Hamilton, a new contact for West Virginia in the portal as they continue to reach out to more players. Let's highlight another one of those that they have reached out to now as well. And let's talk a little bit about a Rice transfer in Jacob Darr, who has heard from a ton of schools as well since he hit the portal. This from Deshaun London on social media, saying Rice transfer Jacob Darr has heard from the following school per his representatives at Real Impact Sports Group: Memphis, Cincy, St. Bonaventure, Texas A&M, Washington, Gonzaga, Kansas State, San Francisco, Seton Hall, Minnesota, FAU, and of course, WVU. So how about a little bit about Jacob Darr here? The Rice transfer. Let's pull up his numbers, talk a little bit about his game from what we can take from these numbers here. Like we said, great size, and all these ones we're going to talk about here. 6'7", not the greatest, frame like we were talking about previously with Hamilton at 220. He's 6'7", 170, so a bit more frail there, a bit more wiry, if you will, but good length nonetheless there with a 6'7" frame. 7.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, a half assist while shooting 41% from the field. But what he does bring a little bit more to the table than Hamilton is he's a very good three-point shooter. 37% this year, 50% the year prior, 75% free throw shooter. Like we said, nearly 4 rebounds per game. So I think when you're recruiting Jacob Darr here, you're going a little bit more on potential, what he can do. And I think more so where Hamilton could help you probably in the paint, Darr would be more of a wing that would help you outside and a little bit more of a shooter. Good length there at 6'7" for a guard. So I do like Darr's game as well, especially as you try and probably now with your other wing players, you're going to try and get a little bit more size there with those guys, whether it be your 2-man or your 3-man, because of Honor Huff being a little bit undersized there at 5'10". You're going to make up for that with other taller players around him so that, when you switch, it doesn't become a liability if you have multiple undersized guards. You can deal with one, but if you run into, multiple guards that are, 6 foot or less, then it becomes a liability on the defensive end at times. I think, now you'll see West Virginia add a lot of length, and a lot of the players that they've targeted have really good length. Honor Huff was the exception to that because he is so dynamic. It doesn't matter. He's such a good player, such a good scorer and shooter that you take that risk of, someone being able to isolate him on defense and hope that you've got enough solid players around him that their help defense will be there. Your rotations will be good on defense. And I think if we know one thing about Coach Hodge is that he emphasizes defense. So I don't think that it will be a downside, but Darr would be a good guard to put beside him with his great length. So there's another one West Virginia has reached out to, and got 2 more here to highlight as well. We have another forward, and then we have another big man, another guard, and then another forward, a big man there. But the guard that we want to highlight, the other guard here, is LSU transfer Tyrell Ward, who has heard from multiple schools since entering the portal. Rivals has him reportedly hearing from Indiana, Maryland, NC State, VCU, and of course WVU, who's making a push for him as well. Now, when we pull up Ward's numbers, he is someone that didn't play last season. He was dealing with an injury, so these are actually from the year prior. But you can see, even in the prior year when he was very young and early in his career, was scoring 9 points per game, grabbing 2 rebounds and nearly an assist per game, shooting 44% from the field. So this is another one that you're thinking has a high ceiling, has a lot of potential, but it's a bit of a risk because he didn't play last season. How's he going to respond to the injury? But I think when you look at his numbers from early in his career, scoring 9 points when you're that young is definitely shows that you have a lot of potential, and West Virginia definitely hopes that he could realize that in Morgantown. That's why they're reaching out. And the same thing we say about Darr applies here to Ward. 6'6", great size for a guard. You want that length on your roster, and really good numbers on the field goal percentage at 44% per game. You look down here, played 14 minutes as a freshman, 21 minutes or nearly 22 minutes as a sophomore. So, despite being young, was getting a ton of playing time. So shows, how high his ceiling can be. And I think what stands out here is another 3-point shooter that's shooting over 40%. West Virginia's targeted multiple of those guys in the portal. We just landed one in Honor Huff. And if you put a 6'6" guy that could shoot the basketball like Ward can beside Honor Huff, you're talking about a deadly threat from beyond the arc. And he plays good defense as well. You would expect that with that long wingspan, averaging nearly a steal per game. So 44% from the field, 41% from the 3-point line, and 68% from the free throw line, averaged 9 points per game the last time he got a chance to play. But like we said, did sit out this past season before entering the portal. So we'll see where he ends up. But West Virginia appears to be very much in play for Tyrell Ward. And then lastly, we got one big man to talk about here, another forward. And that is Oregon State transfer Parsa Fala, who actually has already had a Zoom meeting with West Virginia. So it sounds like West Virginia is very much in the mix here for them to be, getting the Zoom call with him. Seems like West Virginia is probably one of the final choices for Parsa Fala, who has had Zooms with WVU, Seton, and Oklahoma State. Also heard from Mississippi State, TCU, Utah State, South Florida, Xavier, Missouri, Dayton, USC, and LSU. So highly sought after, but has had Zooms with 2 Big 12 schools, West Virginia and Oklahoma State. So a little bit on the game here of Parsa Fala, and then we will pull up our transfer portal tracker, and I'll talk a little bit about all the targets West Virginia is after now that we have Honor Huff in tow in the transfer class. Parsa Fala here, excellent size and frame, similar to what we talked about with the Obioha. Obviously, he's not a 7-footer, but 260 pounds, you're not going to get pushed around in the paint. So he's a great paint presence, both on both ends of the court. I think, when you watch him on offense, he's someone that can get deep post position, get his man on his back and really catch the ball in deep and score there from the post, as you see evidenced by 13 points per game this past season, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and the nearly 60% field goal percentage tells you that he's doing a lot of his scoring close to the basket, as you would expect with someone with that type of body frame, 6'9", 260. You look here at his full numbers. Not going to shoot the ball from the outside. Like we said, does it score it inside, but does have a good free throw percentage for someone his size, which he's worked on and has improved throughout his career all the way up to 69% now. 4 rebounds per game, half a block per game. So, not necessarily the rebounding numbers you'd like to see from someone his size, but those could likely go up in a Ross Hodge system. I think primarily he's a scoring threat from the post, which you need. You have Obioha, but Obioha can't play the whole game. You need a reserve 5-man. And a guy that averaged 13 points in back-to-back seasons will be a heck of a reserve man to have there as your big man. And West Virginia having a Zoom meeting with him probably says we're in pretty good standing with Parsifala. But let's talk about where we stand with some of the other transfer targets that we've talked about on previous streams here on the CRW. Let's pull up our contact list here, go over these again. Haven't had a chance to update this and see if other players have committed elsewhere. I think Themis Folks we're out of the running for. I think Stillwell we can go ahead and turn red as well. I believe we're out of the running for him also, although they haven't announced a new destination to my knowledge currently. Could probably say the same for Duke Brennan, but we'll wait on that. Otherwise, West Virginia is still in the running for most of these names here down at the bottom portion of this list. Of course, names in red have already committed to other programs. As you see there on the end, names in blue have committed to WVU, as you see here on our transfer in list. But as far as, let's talk about some of the other ones we talked about recently, because number one on my wish list was Honor Huff. And I said if West Virginia didn't get Honor Huff, then I would be happy with Wes Ennis. Unfortunately, it sounds like due to us landing Honor Huff, we're probably not going to land Wes Ennis. I could be wrong. I could be surprised. But I think, that those two, it was probably one or the other. Very likely you're not going to land both of those guys because they're both high-profile players, highly sought-after players in the portal. I think West Virginia landed the better scorer, the better shooter of the two, and probably the one that can help you more right away. So I'm, like I said, Huff was number one on my wish list, so not disappointed in landing him and potentially losing out on Ennis because Huff was my preference. Out of all these players that were remaining on this list, he was at the top for me. So West Virginia did, the best they could and landed one of their top portal targets. Other names on the list. I think we still need to keep an eye on Jasper Floyd from North Texas. It's been reported from multiple sources now that West Virginia has a great chance of landing him. Some people are saying, he is going to be a Mountaineer. We'll see what happens there. I think, pairing Floyd and Huff together wouldn't be a bad combination at all. We'll see how that remains, to be seen moving forward. Same goes for Grant Newell from North Texas. Will he follow Ross Hodge over? That's another big man we can keep an eye on. And then I think you're looking at the 4 names we just talked about: Kamani Hamilton, Jacob Darr, Tyrell Ward, and Parsifala. I think the fact that West Virginia had a Zoom meeting for Parsifala, once you get to that point, I'm going to put you on commitment watch. So I think we're on commitment watch for Parsifala. We're on commitment watch for Jasper Floyd. Beyond that, we'll see. I think the other one that I would put up pretty high, I think, is Tyrell Ward right now as far as being high up on the list, because it seems like West Virginia is, making a good push for him. But West Virginia definitely in contention for all these names here on the list that are still in the black text besides, a couple maybe. I think Isaiah Barnes has some other visits he's taken, so maybe not him, maybe not Duke Brennan. But these others, West Virginia's still in the mix for, Terrence Ginyard, Garrett Norman, Don McHenry, Tayton Connerway, Makai Mason, Grant Newell, Jasper Floyd, and Ante Brezovic is highly sought after in the portal. And then, of course, the 4 we just highlighted here: Kamani Hamilton, Jacob Darr, Tyrell Ward, and Parsifala. But that's the contact list as it looks currently with what I've been able to cover here on the CRW. Is there more players West Virginia's reached out to? Likely so. There's been a ton of contact made in the portal. West Virginia's really been swinging for the fences. Ross Hodge and the staff has been doing a great job. You heard me talk about Phil Forte being a key cog in us landing Honor Huff, and super excited that he's joining the staff. But hey, if you guys have been following along here to these live streams, you've known about that for a couple of weeks. I saw a lot of people putting it out on social media today that his bio changed. Well, Hey, we did a live stream talking about that yesterday morning. We let you know about Phil Forte's bio changing and him, all but being official at WVU. So, hey, stick with us. You'll know a lot of this information before it gets out in other places. And one thing we'll continue to update on is these transfer portal targets, these transfer portal commitments, everything happening throughout the WVU basketball transfer portal realm. We'll keep you up to date on as more names are added to this list. As I see West Virginia reach out to more people, I'll update the list and come do future live streams to talk to you guys about it, as I have done here throughout the portal cycle. As we now have 3 transfers in, Harlan Obioha, Brennan Laurent, and Honor Huff. Super excited about all 3 of these. Think this portal class is shaping up really nicely. But West Virginia also going to bring in at least one freshman we know of with DJ Thomas. But how about the last update I have for you guys involving a high-profile high school recruit that was previously committed to West Virginia? We were hoping to hear good news on, and sounds like Coach Hodge and company are putting on the full court press to try and get Braydon Hawthorne back in the fold, which would be a massive addition, guys. He is a super, extremely high-rated recruit, a McDonald's All-American nominee, a Huntington native, playing at Huntington Prep. So, a lot to like about Braydon Hawthorne. If you haven't watched this tape, check it out. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. Of course, now we got to deal with VT in the mix there as well, because him and Chester Frazier had a great relationship. But glad to see West Virginia doing all they can to try and get him back in the fold. As 247 shared today, 2024-2025 4-star Braydon Hawthorne is currently on a visit, meeting with the new West Virginia staff. So visited WVU today. So West Virginia is still in the mix. Also in the mix is Kentucky, who he's going to take a visit to on Wednesday, and also trying to work out visits for Virginia Tech and Michigan. So fingers crossed here, we're still in the mix at least for Braydon Hawthorne, and would love to get good news on him and bring him in as a freshman as well. He would be someone that would receive a lot of immediate playing time. Despite being a true freshman, he would be a key cog in this West Virginia basketball team if they could land him. So hopefully we'll get good news on that in the future. We'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on Braydon Hawthorne from the high school ranks, just like we'll keep an eye on all those transfer portal targets West Virginia is conversating with, having Zoom meetings with multiple of them as well. So that's where things stand. That's what I had for you. Just wanted to rave about Honor Huff and getting my wish granted of having the number 1 guy on my wish list commit today, the top 3-point shooter in the country. Other than that, I'm going to catch up on some of your all's comments, and then we'll call it a stream here for this one. Appreciate you guys that watch live, whether on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. If you're on Facebook or Twitch, come over to the YouTube channel, subscribe here. You can get access to the pre-recorded videos, podcast episodes. Multiple of those have come out in recent weeks. And if you're on here on YouTube and you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on the West Virginia basketball offseason and the West Virginia football offseason. We keep you up to date on both of those here on the Country Roads webcast live streams almost every day. And then, of course, pre-recorded videos and podcast episodes on top of that, in addition to bonus content you can get by becoming a channel member, which we appreciate that support. Helps keep this mic recording and that camera rolling. If you're watching this on YouTube, though, whether live or on the playback, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Help us out with that crazy YouTube algorithm so this video can find more Mountaineer fans like yourself. Let me catch up on some of your all's comments here. Hey, what's going on, James Weekly? Good to see you, man. It's not okay, golf, said Ross and my Hodge. So hard today. I love it. Between WVU hoops and the Masters, I can't take anymore. Hey, all positive things, all good things. Round and round it goes, right? For now, it's all positive news. So we love that. Larry B, appreciate you also. Larry B says, what's the best site to track the portal? 247 Sports. Hey, man, right here on the CRW with our transfer portal tracker. I'll keep you up to date anytime West Virginia reaches out to a portal player, anytime players are transferring out, transferring in. Stick with us right here in the CRW, man. We got you covered. Appreciate you, Larry, and appreciate you, WV1. Hey, man, if you haven't yet, shoot me an email about the tournament challenge, because you did get the win there. countryroadswebcast@gmail.com. Want to get to your earnings there. Gift 2 people in the chat, he says. Okay, fair enough. So I'll do that. I'll make a list of subscribers, and I'll do a random selection and try and remember it on next stream, and I'll try and pick out a couple of names to gift those 1 month of membership at the Almost Heaven level to a couple of you guys here that are usually in the live chats and in the comments and stuff. And I'll do that on the next stream, and I'll have you guys get in contact with me so I can send that your way. That's kind. Appreciate that, WV1, as he won the tournament challenge. Was going to win 2 free months of membership to the Almost Heaven level, but instead he wants to gift it to 2 people in chat. So 2 people in chat are going to get 1 month of membership at the Almost Heaven level. So I'll go through the subscribers list later today, and next stream I'll try and update you guys on that. So let's see what we got here. WVU Earl says excited to see this guy play, as am I. Tosh Miller says hit that like button. Hey, appreciate that, Tosh. Yeah, if you guys would, I know it's crazy, but just take a second, hit the thumbs up button. Helps us out a ton with that crazy YouTube algorithm. No, James, Chester Frazier is now at Virginia Tech. It's been, I guess it was about a week ago that happened. He took the job at Virginia Tech. So that's why they're in the mix for Braydon Hawthorne as well. Good to see you in here as well, Mountaineer with Kenny. Hadn't seen you in a while. Good to see you, man. I appreciate that, Brian. Appreciate the kind words. I like that, Michelle Weintraub. WVU made the honor roll today. Hey, that's right. Hey, your honor there, Honor Huff, as a Mountaineer. Hoping for more good news soon. Me too, Michelle. I think we'll get some in the near future for sure. Some in the near future for sure. But appreciate you guys that tuned in here in the live chat. Like I said, hey, maybe we'll get good news on those names I highlighted there in the transfer portal tracker to maybe be on commitment watch for. If so, I'll come back and chat about those guys as well if they do choose to commit in the near future. But if you guys popped in late, go back. A ton of good updates, not only covering Honor Huff and why it's such a big addition, but highlighting the transfers West Virginia has reached out to in the portal for more of those names, and maybe some good news, maybe a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel on the recruitment of Braydon Hawthorne. We're back in the mix. He visited today, so a lot of good stuff there. Be sure to check this out, the full stream back from the beginning. If you came in late or if you're watching on playback, appreciate that as well. If you're watching on that playback and didn't get a chance to throw your thoughts in the chat, throw them in the comments section there. Always appreciate those interactions as well as we continue to try and grow the CRW community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Other than that, guys, I'll be back with more news comes out, whether football or basketball related, for another live stream at some point tomorrow, unless something breaks tonight and I could come back later tonight. But other than that, I'll be putting out a recruiting update, pre-recorded video on the channel at some point tomorrow. And, I'll be back soon. I'll talk to you guys soon. Hope you guys have a great Saturday or having a great weekend. I'm sure this Honor Huff news helped bolster that a little bit. Certainly did for me. And hopefully we get more news on these transfers here in the near future. But for now, a really good transfer class for Ross Hodge and company. Phil Forte, shout out to him, doing a great job getting Honor Huff in here in the mix. And hopefully we get some more positive news in the near future. Appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz. And until next time, let's go Mountaineers.